What's up, YouTube? I've had a few people ask me more questions about this old Ford LS swap project I got going on here. So, like I said, I was gonna make a quick video, a little more detail on some of the stuff you know y'all have been asking about. So, that video. Hopefully, it's not too long. So bear with me if it is. So I can kind of walk through the few things I've been asked. You know, most of the questions about. So I guess we'll just start from the front, work our way to the back on this thing. Somebody asked about the radiator. It's just a factory style, we'll call it. Heavy duty. Yeah, I think this is either a 3 or a 4 core. Just, to make the hoses hook up, what I did was just, went to O'Reilly's, found a hose that was just, I took a piece of coat hanger, bent it to where in the basic general shape of what I need the hose to be. Went to O'Reilly's, found one really close, just had to basically cut it in half, put a splice in it to make just a slight bend to make it hook up for my upper. So, that's how I did that on the top one, was just, like I say, took coat hanger, bent it to the general shape of the hose I was going to need in length, and then went to O'Reilly's, said, hey, where's your hoses? I want to look through them, dug through them until I found one as close as I could. On the lower, that's a totally different story because the inlet is on the passenger side, but the radiators, inlet, are actually, that'd be outlet on this one, on the radiator, out from the radiator into the pump, is on the driver's side. So what I did was just got a 90-degree rubber, hose, which is a radiator hose. So all it is, I just cut a chunk off it. And then to make that long run all the way across the bottom of the radiator, I just used a piece of exhaust tubing. A buddy of mine's got a machine shop and a fab shop, and we just roll some beads in it to keep the hose from blowing off. So it's just a long piece of exhaust tubing that goes all the way across the bottom, and then with a 90-degree bend in it, and then just a piece of, of that, let me see if I get a light so you can kind of see it, just a piece of that, that flexible, universal radiator hose for that, so it's not pretty, but it works, and that's all I'm going for. I just want to drive this truck. That's all I want to do, so, and I'm not trying to spend a whole bunch of money doing it. So that's the radiator. I'm using the factory GM fan clutch because, man, electric fans are great. They save horsepower, but these work every time for me. Never had an issue with a clutch fan. I've always had electric fan issues. Be out in the middle somewhere, fan quits working because the motor went out or something, and then you can't idle. You gotta hurry up, just keep it driving. So I want reliability. So I just left the factory, GM fan clutch on it. Somebody asked about exhaust. Just factory manifolds that came with this thing. The only part it's relatively close to, it would be the brake line down there, but I got it wrapped in some type of heat resistant wrap stuff, just to try to, I don't think it doesn't look like it's that close. I don't think it actually get it hot enough because there's always air moving across it. So, but I went ahead and wrapped it with that stuff anyways, But the exhaust is just simple, it's the factory manifolds. When I get into the truck, I'll show you the rest of the exhaust. Honestly, this engine's sitting in here, it could probably it could have shoved back a little bit further, another inch or two. Wouldn't to hurt it one bit, but that's just where it landed for me. When I get on the truck, I'll show you how I did it, because I done a brief look on engine mounts, and I saw a bunch of mounts for Broncos, but I wasn't 100% sure that they would work on this Ford, and I didn't want to chance it in buying them. So I just built my own, and I'll show you how I did it. It looks like garbage, but it works. When I get underneath the truck, I'll show you that part. So somebody asked about, okay, and then as far as the transmission cooler goes on this thing, I didn't run it through the factory radiator. I just bought a huge transmission cooler. You probably can't see it through there. It's huge. It's 2 layers. It's like 2 separate coolers stacked on top of each other. And I haven't had a temperature issue with it yet. So, hopefully that's good. If it ain't, well, I'll figure something out later. But let me get underneath the truck. Lay down here. This place is a mess right now because I've been, working on the race car, working on this truck. Exhaust is, man, it's cobbled up. It works, it's all it does. It gets the stuff out. It's true duals, 2 1/4, and there's some hooker chambered mufflers, and then it goes over the axle because I didn't want it in my truck. So as far as like shifter linkage goes, this is the factory off the column shifter where it comes down here. Man, I know y'all can't see that. There we go. It's a little better. This is all factory right here. And then I just, one of the bolts, try and get to focus, bolted directly up to the side of this transmission with a spacer right here. Maybe it's like a 1-inch spacer probably. And this comes down a bit of angle. I probably honestly should move that up to try to correct that. And I might. It really won't be a big deal. It'll be build a little bracket off here, move it up, which I'll probably do that maybe this next week or so. But this is all the factory linkage off the column. I just bought this little setup right here is nothing more than a throttle linkage bracket from you can get it from Summit, you can get it from Jags. Our local speed shop had on the shelf. It was like $23. I was like, man, I'll take that right there. So it's just a throttle linkage bracket with some spacers to make it work. It seems to work just fine, but I really need to fix this. I don't like the way it looks. It's going to cause a bind in the future most likely, so I'll fix that. But as far as engine mounts go, like I say, I just built them. It's 1/8-inch plate is all it is. I took the factory mount, set it on top of the plate, drew around it, which gave me the size I needed to cut, and then the bolt hole locations, and then just used my plasma cutter, blew that shape out of there, blew the 4 holes in it for the bolts to go on the side of the motor, and then just a piece of plate, comes down, off the side, and this is nothing more than a control arm off a Jeep Wrangler. I think it was the what do they call it? I'm drawing a blank because I'm talking about it. I believe it's a trailing arm for the rear differential. We were thrown away at work because I work at a BMW dealership that is right beside a Chrysler dealership, and they're always doing lifts on Jeeps when they come in. Customers want a big lift, so they throw a lift on it, and all the old special stuff they just throw away. Well, I grabbed that trailing arm because, man, I was like, man, that's perfect. It's got a 9/16 hole going through it, through the trailing arm. So I just, like I said, a piece of steel, 2 little, flat pieces coming off to grab the mount. I just simply welded to the cross member because, welding it, yeah, it's permanent there, but a cut-off wheel and a grinder, and it's not permanent no more, so I'm not that worried about it. But that's real. That's janky, I know, but it works. And as far as the transmission mount goes, that one's even worse than what you just saw there. It is nothing but a piece of, because this transmission is so much shorter than the transmission I had in the truck. The transmission I had in the truck was an E4LD, big, gigantic transmission, and this 4L60 is so much shorter. So I basically had to just make a bracket that bolted to my cross member that extended forward about 6-7 inches to grab the back of that transmission. It's a little flimsy, I won't lie. I don't know if the flex is coming from my bracket or this cross member, which isn't the strongest in the world. So I do plan on, you know, tying in, with some 1-inch tubing or something maybe, and running back to this cross member to kind of give it a, a support from flexing up and down. I don't know. I'll figure something out. It doesn't seem to be giving me an issue, but I know it probably will over time. So I'll try to do something to prevent it from maybe flex too much, trying to crack either the mount I made or this cross member. I will say this. I found this out afterwards. That's why the engine mount, it looks like it's fresh and welded, because it is. Do not use the Ford's factory location, at least on this truck. It might be different from others. On this truck, the factory Ford location back here where the transmission mounts up is actually an inch in like 1/16 or an inch and 3/8, something like that, to the passenger side. They offset it to the passenger side to correct driveline angle, because the pinion is not dead center of the differential. It's over to the passenger side, so they actually offset the rear, or actually the whole engine over. So I made that mistake. I was like, oh well, I'll use a factory Ford location and then just center the engine up front and it'll be great. Well, no, it wasn't. I used the factory Ford location back here, centered the engine up front, and then lo and behold, if you stand back in the front of the truck looking at the engine, you could see the engine was going at a slight angle. So I corrected that. That's why the engine mounts look so janky, because I had to correct that and push the whole engine over up front so that it would be straight in the truck again. So just keep that in mind. Double check it, either Google it, I don't know, or get tape measure out and make sure yours is actually centered if you're going to use that for a centering point. If not, be ready for it. Drive shaft is just a one-piece drive shaft. I had a local shop build me. I just, I stuck after everything was mounted in, I stuck the yoke in the back of the transmission, and then just, stuck it all the way until it bottomed out, pulled it out about an inch, measured center of the yoke, center of the U-joint to center of the U-joint back there, or actually to the, I bolted, man, I don't even know what to call it. I bolted the drive shaft, flange up to the differential to where I had just my U-joint, holes there, and just measured center of that to center of this, and then told my drive shaft guy, hey man, that's what I need, and it's a long one, because this is a, long wheel, a long bed truck, so it's a long drive shaft, but he said he'd do it for me, so that's it. As far as wiring goes, it's all the factory GM stuff. I didn't alter this harness. I didn't, because they're L21.com or L21swap.com gives you a layout of exactly what wires ditch, to make your harness smaller, lighter, prettier, and it gives you great detail, man. That's a great little website to go check out if you're going to be doing this. But I didn't do it because, one, I'm lazy. Two, I always hate cutting wires. So I left it completely intact, and just, we're going to zip tie off what's not being used, and then we're going to use the HB tuners, which we already have for the truck, to just shut off stuff you don't need. If it don't need it for emissions, we just turn off the HB tuners, and we'll, tuck the wire somewhere, hide it, do something, not a big deal. But man, that's about it. Still using a factory Ford brake booster, just tied into a vacuum supply in the back of the intake. It's fly-by cable. This ain't a fly-by-wire truck. This is the older one, has actual throttle cable. So that's I think that's pretty much going to answer the questions I was tossed in some of the comments. Sorry this video is so damn long, but hopefully it helps y'all out. Hopefully you can pause the video and get a better look at some of the stuff you need to look at. If not, man, hit me up. There's another guy in here. I gotta send him some pictures of my fuse box and how I got it set up as far as, you know, how it's wired in underneath to the truck, because he has a question about that, how I did it on mine. So I got his email, so I got to take some pictures of that in a little bit, send that to him. This is the ECU, man. I just built a little cheesy bracket, screwed to the firewall. It's bolted that bracket with these two, 13 millimeter bolts. But that's gonna be about it for this video. Man, I hope it can help y'all out. I hope you looked at it and it's like, oh man, that, I like the way you did that, but I'm gonna do something different. I think this will work better. And if some way I did, way I did, you see it might work better for you, man, just shoot, let me know, because I'm still fighting little bugs on this truck. It ain't perfect by no means. So man, if you got a better idea how to do something, shoot me a comment. I'm willing to read it, because like I said, I'm still fighting little issues here and there. AC compressor is not going to fit this engine. That's why I'm saying it. If I raised it up further, I wouldn't be able to run the fan clutch. But if you're going to plan on running AC, you're going to have to lift the motor up higher, or you're going to have to notch the cross member, because the compressor is not going on this thing. But man, that's going to do it for this video. Sorry it's so long. Let me know what y'all thought. Comments, questions, let me hear them. Appreciate y'all for watching this, and until next time.